The headlines. The shock return of former Prime Minister David Cameron as Foreign Secretary, as Rishi Sunak's cabinet reshuffle continues.
I want to do everything to strengthen our alliances, to work with our friends, to build those vital partnerships, to make sure our country is secure and prosperous in a difficult and dangerous world. That work starts now, and I've got to get on with it.
The World Health Organization says Gaza's main hospital is no longer functioning. Doctors at Al-Shifa Hospital say that they fear around 30 newborn babies needing intensive care treatment could die. And Iceland braces for a volcanic eruption as more than 500 earthquakes hit the country's south coast. Hundreds of protesters gathered near Spain's Socialist Party headquarters on Monday in opposition to the controversial law that it negotiated with Catalan nationalists. The legislation grants an amnesty to those involved in Catalonia's failed independence bid. It was a key condition for Catalan separatist support for a new leftist government. The Brazilian President Lula da Silva has enacted legislation that reserves half of all public university places for students of African and indigenous descent. It also includes people with disabilities and lower-income families. President Lula said that the new rules would help address inequality and racism. President Biden has held talks with the Indonesian President Joko Widodo at the White House. Mr. Widodo urged Joe Biden to do more to end atrocities in Gaza and helped bring about a ceasefire. During the meeting at the White House, Mr. Widodo said that he had come to deliver a very strong message from the joint summit of Arab and Muslim leaders earlier this week. Well, over to the United States. Donald Trump Jr. has returned to the witness stand for a second time in a civil fraud trial in New York City. Former U.S. President Donald Trump and his two eldest sons are accused of fraudulently overstating the value of their real estate empire to obtain favorable loans. The defense has argued that banks made money from Mr. Trump and that they didn't rely on his financial statements. They also say prosecutors have failed to prove that banks wouldn't have loaned him the money, even if they had known about the inflated assets. And before we go, Kenya is attempting to plant 100 million trees as part of the country's new national effort to combat climate change. Monday was declared a national holiday in Kenya to kickstart this ambitious plan to plant more than 15 billion trees within the next decade. And that's all we have for you.